Okay, so you sent us this interesting post
Yeah, looks like it's from the AIDB newsletter,
from today, actually, March 17th, 2025.
fresh off the press.
And as always, we're going to do a deep dive and try to unpack the most important information for you.
Yeah, think of it as your shortcut to staying ahead of the game in the world of AI.
Because, things move so fast in AI these days.
Absolutely, it can be overwhelming.
So we're trying to cut through the noise and figure out what really matters.
Exactly. The newsletter highlights 3 key developments, and we're going to dissect each one, what they are, and why they matter.
So the 3 key areas that this newsletter covers are a legal update involving Elon Musk and OpenAI,
Okay,
a new AI agent for personalized medicine from Harvard and MIT,
interesting.
and the launch of self-learning AI voice agents by a company called Vogent.
All right, sounds like a lot to unpack. Where should we start?
Well, let's start with the legal battle, between Elon Musk and OpenAI.
Okay, so the newsletter talks about a ruling from a federal judge on March 4th, 2025. It concerns Musk's request for a preliminary injunction against some of OpenAI's recent structural changes.
Huh?
So the judge basically said no to immediately halting those changes, but the case isn't over. The judge decided to speed up the trial and allowed some of Musk's claims to proceed.
So while Musk didn't get that immediate stop he wanted, the court is still going to hear the case. So what exactly is Musk arguing against OpenAI?
Well, according to the newsletter, Musk's lawsuit, which he filed last year, alleges that OpenAI and its CEO, Sam Altman, have kind of strayed from the company's original mission.
Right.
He claims they were supposed to be a nonprofit focused on developing AI for the benefit of humanity, and he feels they shifted their focus towards corporate profits.
I see. And how has OpenAI responded to these, pretty serious accusations?
They've strongly denied everything. They insist their fundamental nonprofit structure is still in place, and they've argued that any restructuring involving for-profit subsidiaries is actually meant to support that broader nonprofit mission.
So it's a clash of philosophies, really, about the best way to achieve responsible AI development. The newsletter also mentions some internal emails that seem pretty relevant.
Right, this is where it gets interesting. Apparently, OpenAI brought up these internal emails suggesting that Musk himself, at one point, proposed merging OpenAI with Tesla to create a for-profit entity.
Oh, wow.
Kind of ironic, don't you think?
Yeah, it definitely adds a new layer to his current lawsuit.
So if we zoom out a bit, why is this legal battle and this recent ruling such a big deal?
Well, you have to look at the bigger picture. The newsletter points to a rumored major investment in OpenAI from SoftBank. We're talking potentially $40 billion.
Wow.
But here's the thing. This investment is reportedly tied to OpenAI shifting more decisively to a for-profit model. So even though the injunction was denied, this lawsuit could still impact whether that investment goes through.
And that could completely reshape OpenAI's future.
Right. It also raises some interesting questions about the best way to fund and structure AI development in the future.
Right. Like, is it better to have these massive investments from companies like SoftBank, even if it means a more profit-driven approach?
Right.
Or is it better to stick to a nonprofit model?
Absolutely. And considering OpenAI's last valuation was a whopping $157 billion after raising $6.6 billion,
Yeah.
the stakes are, incredibly high.
Yeah, it's not just about OpenAI.
Not at all.
It has implications for the whole AI landscape.
For sure. For sure.
Yeah.
Okay, let's shift gears a little bit to our second topic from today's, the AIDB newsletter. It's about this, potentially game-changing development in personalized medicine from Harvard and MIT.
Oh, yeah, this is really fascinating. Researchers have developed this AI agent called TxAgent. It's specifically designed to come up with personalized treatment recommendations for patients. What's really interesting is that it utilizes multi-step reasoning and draws on real-time biomedical knowledge to provide recommendations that are tailored to each individual.
So it's not just accessing a static database, it's actually thinking through different options.
Yeah.
How does TxAgent actually work, right? How does it arrive at a personalized treatment plan?
Well, it's equipped with 211 specialized tools.
Wow!
I know, right? These tools let it analyze potential drug interactions and contraindications really thoroughly. And then it can actually suggest patient-specific treatments, and all of this happens in real time.
That's amazing. What specific factors does it consider when making these recommendations?
Well, it looks at a lot of things. It evaluates drugs not just at the clinical level, how they're performed in trials, but also at the molecular and pharmacokinetic levels. So basically how the body processes them and how they interact with our biology. But what's really important is that it considers a patient's unique situation, right? So any other medical conditions they have, other medications they're on, their age, and even their genetic factors, all to identify potential risks.
So in a way, it's like having an incredibly knowledgeable doctor who can instantly process all this information for each patient.
Yeah, exactly.
And how does it actually come up with the recommendations? Is there like a specific process?
Yeah, so it synthesizes evidence from all these different biomedical sources. Then it goes through this iterative process of reasoning and refining its recommendations.
Okay.
It's not just picking treatments randomly. It uses something called structured function calls. It's a step-by-step process to consider different treatments, analyze any potential problems like, drug interactions, and then narrow down the recommendations.
This is a very methodical approach.
Exactly, very methodical.
And the newsletter mentions Tool Universe. What is that?
Right, that's the curated toolkit that TxAgent uses, and it only includes data from trusted sources. The newsletter specifically mentioned OpenFDA and OpenTargets.
I see.
That focus on reliable data is crucial to making sure the AI's recommendations are actually trustworthy.
Absolutely. You don't want it basing its decisions on unreliable information.
Exactly.
So why is TxAgent such a big deal? What's the potential impact here?
Well, it's a huge step forward in personalized medicine. I mean, it could potentially change the way healthcare works by giving doctors this AI-powered assistant that can provide safer, more tailored treatments. The potential to improve patient outcomes is enormous.
Right.
The newsletter also highlighted that these optimized treatment suggestions and the ability to streamline consultations could be especially beneficial in developing countries.
Okay.
Places where healthcare systems are often stretched really thin.
Right. Imagine a clinic in a remote area where a doctor, using TxAgent, could access treatment recommendations that normally would have required seeing a specialist in a big city.
Exactly. That kind of access could really level the playing field when it comes to healthcare.
Definitely. Okay, let's move on to our final topic from the AIDB newsletter, the launch of these self-learning AI voice agents from Vogent.
Yeah, this is another exciting development. Vogent, a company that's gotten a lot of attention lately, through Y Combinator, announced their beta release of self-learning AI agents on March 12, 2025. The really innovative part is that these agents can basically design and improve themselves.
Okay.
Which could eliminate the need for all the manual prompt engineering we usually have to do.
That sounds like a huge leap forward, because usually getting these voice agents to work well involves so much back and forth, constantly tweaking prompts and fine-tuning. What's different about Vogent's approach?
Well, they're using reinforcement learning, or RL methods,
Right.
similar to what some of the most advanced AI research labs use. Basically, think of it like training a dog. You reward it for good behavior, and it learns.
Yeah.
Reinforcement learning works kind of the same way. These AI agents learn by interacting with all sorts of data, like recordings and transcripts of calls. And based on how well they do, they can actually create and refine their own internal designs.
So they're not just following a script, they're actually learning and adapting from real-world experiences.
Exactly. And a key feature the newsletter highlighted is their ability to learn from failures. They can look at every interaction, even a simple phone call, to see where they went wrong and correct those behaviors.
Interesting.
That means they're constantly improving without needing someone to intervene and manually adjust things.
So instead of a bunch of engineers writing complex prompts, these AIs could potentially evolve to become more effective communicators all on their own.
Exactly. It could revolutionize how we interact with technology through voice.
Yeah, the possibilities are pretty amazing. The newsletter also mentioned some buzz about this launch on social media.
Yeah, people are definitely excited. Platforms like X are buzzing with congratulations for the founders, Jagath Vithlingam and Vignesh Viswanathan. From big players like Y Combinator and Sphere and FDN. What everyone seems to be highlighting is the fact that these agents don't need traditional training. They can operate independently.
So it's a big step forward for how we develop and deploy AI applications. The newsletter did say that specific technical details are still kind of under wraps, though.
Yeah, as of today, March 17th, 2025, we don't have all the specifics on their algorithms or data sets. So if you're really interested in the nitty-gritty details,
Right.
The newsletter suggests keeping an eye on Vogent's official channels or waiting for them to publish more information.
Got it. So to sum up our deep dive into this March 17th edition of the AIDB newsletter, we've gone over 3 pretty major developments. Each one has implications that reach far beyond just the specific technology itself.
Yeah, first we talked about the legal battle between Elon Musk and OpenAI, and how the judge's ruling could shape not just OpenAI's future, but the future of AI development as a whole.
Right, because it raises those fundamental questions about how we fund and structure these powerful technologies. Then we look at TxAgent, the AI agent from Harvard and MIT that could revolutionize personalized medicine.
Yeah, giving doctors an incredibly powerful tool to make better treatment decisions, and maybe even making high-quality healthcare more accessible in parts of the world that really need it.
Absolutely. And finally, we explored the launch of Vogent's self-learning AI voice agents.
Which could completely change how we interact with technology through voice, making it much more natural and intuitive.
So taken together, these 3 developments really show just how quickly AI is evolving and expanding its influence in every corner of our lives, from how these companies are structured, to how we receive healthcare, to how we communicate with machines.
It's a lot to think about. So here's a question for you. Given all these advancements in such different areas of AI, what do you see happening next? What new possibilities will emerge, and what new challenges might we face?
That's something to ponder as AI continues to reshape the world around us.
For sure.